next step in getting Barbatos ready for painting for the GWCC 2006 competition. What I tend to do is I tend to take my washed parts. I have the G runners right here now, and I tend to take tape and keep them all in bins and sort it. As you can see, I have the F bin right here. And I go and I find the inside of the pieces and these long pieces that stick out. So we don't really want to paint up these areas, or otherwise we'll have gaps in our panels and that. And I'll tend to just put them on clips there like that and fill them out like this. So all these pieces here, these are going to be primed with the Gaahleri black gloss for the inner frame, and I'm going to take all the little details that you see, like what's right here, and detail that up probably with some metallics and some reds. And I also recently just got the Gaahleri clear translucents. So I have never used translucent, and hey, what a good time to start using translucents, but for a competition. My browns and black like I would typically do. Also, may try to do a cherry red on the pistons that are sticking out of the side of Barbatos. Barbatos has quite a complex inner frame, and I really think that for the sake of this competition anyway, we should really detail it and make sure it shows off. Probably even fully assemble the inner frame first, take some glory shots of it, and then proceed to do the outer frame. So I'm going to go through all these runners, especially for the inner frame, fill them all out. And then when I'm done, I'm going to take a piece of tape and I'm going to pull the tape off here. This, and I'm going to label it G1 because this is all the G runners. And that'll let me know that all the pieces on here are from the G runner. So when I'm spraying them, I can keep them organized, and it just makes it easier for assembly. All right, everybody, we're here at the spray booth, but before we get into priming the gloss black on all our inner frame pieces, it goes on the mace of the Barbatos Lupus, but there's not really a good spot to clip the piece on. And much like the vernier and then move it, it can be very difficult to get a nice finish when you are airbrushing. What I learned to do, and this is fairly new within the last couple of months, is I take a twist tie and I have it on an alligator clip like this. And what I do is I just put it in the hole on the bottom and I spray. Now, you don't want to have your PSI too high because what'll end up happening, it's not on very sturdy. But I tend to spray my primers and paints around 15, 17 PSI and do multiple thin coats. So when you spray down or vertically on that lower PSI, you're just fine in covering the piece. So because we're just using straight black gloss primer, the Kaleido gloss black primer, we're going to just thin it down. So I've already got it shaken up, and we're going to add in a fair bit, and I'm going to try to run this for a longer time. And so in turn, we're also going to use the Kaleido retarder thinner so that I'll get more time out of my airbrush. And we're going to add about a 50-50 mix. And I'll give this a quick stir. And I got more made than I anticipated, but it's looking pretty good there, right? It's just a straight gloss black primer. Nothing too fancy. Now, I do have the Mobius 0.3. That one I tend to use just for painting the final colors in that. What I like to use, and it's because I do a lot of metallic primers and other primers, is this one came with the Serene Air mini air compressor. And it's the classic CS36, but it's a little bit wider of a nozzle, got a little bit wider of a spray area. But at the same time, I keep my primers, airbrush, and my regular painting airbrush separately. So all I'll do is I'll just go and I'll add this in. And as you can see, it's very thin. That's intentional. Everyone has a preference. And I'll spray this using 15 psi. I'll keep this cup on the side and I'll mix up more primer as needed. But essentially, that's what we have. So on the first spray, I know it's really tempting to take that big statement piece and put your first coat on it. But to get a feel for it and for that finger muscle memory to come in, especially if you're new with airbrushing, I tend to like to take a smaller piece that would be hidden a little bit more and to get a feel for that positioning and how the paint and how you have it thinned works out. It's kind of an interior piece. I don't think you're ever going to see it, but we're going to paint it and we're going to just do one really light coat. And I'm just going back very slowly onto the trigger until we start getting paint on the part. And it might be overly cautious, but you know, we're not in a rush here. We're doing this as part of a hobby and as part of model building. So there we go. There's a coat. This one may not need a second coat. So I just transfer them over and add them to the tray like this when they're done. And I only have the G runners here, so I don't need to label this one because everything's going to transfer over to the G runners after. So I got another piece here now that I got a feel. Again, it's not a big statement piece. We're just getting a feel for how the paint is flowing. We're going to do a little light brush here. You can see the black going on very slowly. There we go. All right. I'll talk through one more and then maybe we'll just do some spraying for ASMR stuff. I know a lot of people like that as well. You really can't knock how well a good, properly thinned paint really makes your spray paint sessions much more enjoyable. When it's really thick, sometimes you're just fighting with the paint and you're not actually getting. How come that's not focused? There we go. Yeah, see? Nice and thin and perfect. You don't want it on too thick, but everybody has a preference. And ultimately, you got to do what you enjoy. So we'll just do some spraying and enjoy. You know, I do got to say, it's my first time using this primer, and I've mostly used the Vallejo metallic primers in the past, or the straight bottle, and I'm probably hooked on airbrush specific primers now because it's a lot less fighting and is actually making the painting experience a lot better. You know, that might actually be one coat because I'm going to put a metallic on over this and then use the custom Under Armour that we designed in our previous video. We can see I'm going to come in. You can see where I'm going to come in, and it's just on really nicely, and it's really going to speed up this painting process. I gotta say, probably didn't need to put the thinner retarder in this one. There we go. All right. Well, I'm going to finish off all this runner for G. So I guess being new to making YouTube videos and that, totally forgot to film a ending with a satisfying scene. But hey, learning along the way, I'll take note for next time. In the meantime, if you've made it this far in, please like and subscribe. It would really help to encourage me to do more. And if you put a comment into things you would like to see, that'll let me know exactly what you guys want to see, and I'll work with you on it. Thank you.